From Wakefield, it's the Ice-T Meme Show starring Nolan, inviting you to join Nolan and his guests this week, Michael and Matthew Sangiuliano, to the show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Nolan.
And welcome back to the program, everybody. Hopefully, you all are safe out there wherever you're viewing or listening to this. This is episode number 2 of season 2. So, technically, I guess episode 17 in general of the program. It's gone by fast. We're already into April, which is amazing. Like I said, hopefully, you're all staying safe. It looks like as the country, although maybe adding more restrictions back again, more shots are being out and available, and that's great. So hopefully, it all works out and hopefully you can do this in public maybe and we'll go from there. But as I always do on the show, it's time again to go over what happened this past week in a segment I like to call What Happened This Past Week with Noel Dog, where I, yours truly, Noel Dog, discusses everything he saw and as well as everyone else saw in the news this past week. Without further ado, let us begin. First of this news cycle and some interesting political news, Republican Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida is said to be considering leaving Congress in just his third term to join the conservative news and opinion network Newsmax, according to Axios. Gaetz leaving Congress is like that annoying classmate talking on Zoom, just hoping they get muted, and you hope it happens soon, but it'll never happen. Some not so surprising news. It seems as though Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia has found herself in hot waters, as she seems to have put her foot in her mouth once again. Greene put out a video recently in regards to the Biden administration reportedly requiring businesses making customers show proof of having gotten the vaccination in order to partake in their business once doors are open. Greene said that a vaccine passport is, quote, Biden's mark on the beast, I should say, end quote, and that any company that requires one is engaging in, quote, corporate communism, end quote. Somehow, this is one of the poster childs for the opinions, interest of Georgians in Washington. I trust Representative Greene more with the news that I reenacted what happened in Colorado out of, quote, mental health decline, because, that's always how they diagnose some white man killing a bunch of people, and then having the best interest of the state of Georgia and the country. Some shocking entertainment news, it was announced by the worldwide entertainment star herself as Ariana Grande will be joining John Legend, Blake Shelton, and Kelly Clarkson as a judge on season 21 of The Voice. Now that she announced this, teenage girls have something to look for since the TikTok videos of them shaking their ass didn't get the views they thought they should have gone. Some sports news broke as NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell announced that next season will be the beginning of a 17-game season, as well as expecting full stadiums during the 2021 season. They're expecting this to go over smoothly and without upheavals, like the Yankees fans thinking this is finally their year to win it all, and it just won't be good. Some interesting sports news. It's being reported that Top Rank has informed ESPN, a pay-per-view distributor in demand, that it's exploring a June 5th fight in Abu Dhabi between welterweight champ Terence Crawford and boxing legend Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao continued to fight with past his primes, like Sylvester Stallone making a 60-year-old Rocky fight a professional boxer after his age in Rocky 6. The only positive thing from it is that it makes both sides make a shit ton of money. In some exciting and deserved royal news, it's being reported that due to the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle Oprah Winfrey interview, it's being rumored that Prince Charles and his wife Camilla Parker Bowles, the Duchess of Cornwall, are having marital problems. Apparently, they've been spending time apart at different residences. When they are together, arguments get extremely volatile after a few drinks. Princess Diana stands all across the world are rejoicing like the Wicked Witch of the West melting at the Charles game. Much deserved bad luck he's currently getting after Diane got all those years. Or Diana, I should say. After abruptly leaving the talk, Sharon Osbourne is to receive a huge payout up towards millions of dollars after publicly sharing her side of the Harry and Meghan interview and defending Piers Morgan's response to the whole thing. How do large companies have enough money to keep people quiet like this, yet not enough to pay, other essential actual workers, living wage or salary? That's like saying when Biden gets elected, he's going to solve all the problems like not letting Republicans triggering Antifa and progressive Democrats or completing everything on socialist agendas. It makes no sense. And finally, in this news week, in some bizarre health news, a Virginia man suffered a rare reaction to the COVID-19 vaccine that caused a painful rash to spread across his entire body and skin to peel off, doctors said. The man's legs looked so bad that they looked like they were bathed in both fake blood and barbecue sauce. After seeing that, Jeffrey Dahmer's ghost came out and feasted on his legs. That's what happened this past week in the news. Stay listening right back with our guests this week, both the brother duo, Michael and Matthew Sangiuliano. I'll see you soon. And welcome back to the show with the red dot blinking on my camera and the date being Thursday, the 1st of April, April Fool's Day, 2021 means we're back for another edition of the program, The Ice-T Meme Show. Before we go any further, if you like what you're watching or listening to, do us all a favor here at Team Studios, myself and the two guests here. subscribe and follow the show, smash the like button, turn the bell notification button, and don't forget to click that share button to let everyone know what great content you're watching. Because I know they both are constantly viewing this. You know how great this is because I'm gonna shoot right to the moon. Anyways, enough of that. Self-promotion, content adulation, and without further ado, let me bring on my guest for this week's episode. My guest for this week's edition of the program holds a special place in my heart. Half of this tenacious duo is making their return to the program, and the other half is making their debut. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome both Michael and Matthew Sangiuliano to the Ice-T and Meme Show. Thank you for taking the time out to do this, my friends. This is a big deal, a record for both of you for being the first sibling duo to make an appearance on here. I'm sure Matthew and Michael, vice versa, would want to do nothing other than do this with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been on a podcast with Matthew before, Nolan.
Yeah, well, this is big time, I guess. Now, obviously,
the longest conversation we'll ever have together.
Yeah,
hopefully will be.
And not over text. Obviously, Michael knows my love for iced tea, and if we did this in person, we'd be having one together. But I'll start with Mr. Michael. I mean, obviously, we talk, or at least I try to, at least once a day. With how busy you are and how vacant you are sometimes during the day. What's it been like for you now with with COVID and stuff like that since we've last been on the show together?
Not too much has changed. I think. What month did we talk in last? It was when?
Probably in February, maybe.
All right. Yeah, it was
before you got your shot.
Okay. You know what? It wasn't February because I think I was still in another class from last. It might have been last semester, Nolan.
Oh wow.
Well, anyway, don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. Regardless, since last time we chatted, yes, I have gotten both my COVID shots. I'm fully vaccinated. I got the Moderna shot. I got it through work. Obviously, we talked about where I work last time. It's something that all of the elderly clients, all but two, did get their vaccine, and all but I think one or two of my coworkers also got it. So for me, that gives me a lot more peace of mind knowing that I'm going somewhere that's a lot more low risk now, being that the vast majority of everyone there has been vaccinated.
Yeah.
And also, as we mentioned, I have not been to school. I have not been to campus at URI since last March. It's been over a year now. So that whole environment of potentially catching COVID or coming in contact with someone who may have it and infecting myself and then infecting work, that's not an issue for me because I'm not at school and now I'm vaccinated when I go to work. So that's pretty much all that's really changed for me. I have been working every day. I do school at night, and that's about it. I come home and annoy people once in a while, but
just burn the midnight oil when you can stay up past 9 o'clock and not pass out on the floor. For you though, since you work at the old folks daycare center, and with the rise of the vaccines available, the different variants available, what's your take on that? How's it been working at that place now that there's been different availabilities?
So we were closed since COVID started a year ago. We were closed from March until about July or August. And when we reopened, we were open from August up until December, right before Christmas. So a good 4 months stretch of time with, no vaccination, no nothing. And we didn't have any cases of COVID. Unfortunately, we did have a little outbreak. I believe about 18 of our participants ended up getting COVID. Some were hospitalized. I think we only lost one, which was terribly sad. But since then, now that we've been able to get this vaccine, we all got our second dose on March 16th, so it was only a couple of weeks ago. I'm officially fully vaccinated as of this past Tuesday. It gives a peace of mind, especially for I think all of the families, knowing that their loved one is in our care and is protected, because specifically when you're working with Alzheimer's and dementia patients, you really can't give them an instruction that they're going to follow well. You can tell them to put their mask on, they're going to pull it down within 10 seconds. So that's a risk that the families needed to be willing to take. But they've now, been at it since last July or August when we started again, kind of gotten the routine down. And like I've said for the third time now that everyone's vaccinated, it gives a peace of mind to everyone.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to, ask you. Also, part of a kind of two-part question. First I'd ask, what is this, this whole thing, and now that you've been vaccinated, what perspective does it give you? And also, what are your, hopes for, the country, not just Rhode Island, but going into the late spring into the summer?
I felt kind of guilty getting my shot as early as I did because I got it before both my grandparents. I got it before a lot of other people that have health conditions. I'm a very healthy 21-year-old. There's nothing wrong with me. I have really no comorbidities other than I'm fat. So I really don't need the shot, but I needed it for work. And I would talk to my coworkers about it. They justified it to me saying that, it's not so much yourself that you're protecting, but you're protecting everyone else.
Yeah.
So you're, transmitting it, which I do understand. I just, I did feel bad because my grandparents have been afraid to leave the house. They really haven't done anything the past year. And here I am living my life as normal and I got the shot.
Well, I know now. I watched this podcast, Your Mom's House, with Tom Segura and Christina Przinski, which seeing as my humor is pretty out there, and your brother likes to laugh like he's half a cluck about some of the stuff I've done.
Humor is disgusting.
In front of him on the rare occasion I've been in Barrington in a while, but one of the guys on there who is not in the best shape, but he's not obese, but he's a little heavy, and they were saying that they're out in California, so I think there's a certain body percent fat that you have to that you can have, or how much you weigh, depending on what you can, if you can get the vaccine or not. Which I don't know if it is in here with Rhode Island, although now we're getting more vaccines, which is good. I'm happy though that there's we're making a slowly but positive trajectory.
I think that moving forward, this is my opinion, and we can obviously hear Matthew's opinion too if he wants, but I have no opposition towards the vaccine, but at the same time, I respect the people that don't want to get it if they have a reason that seems justifiable. It's one thing to say, I'm not going to get it because the government's doing X, Y, and Z, and they're trying to track me. They're
putting chips in the water that make the fucking frogs gay. They're doing all this stuff.
Okay, yep.
Alex
so
Jones.
Get over
Alex
it.
Jones, InfoWars.
Move past that and realize that if we want to start going in the direction of being back to normal, and we want to be able to start, spending more time with each other and saving lives, it quite literally comes down to saving lives. You can get it. But again, if you have a religious belief or maybe, a health condition you're concerned about, or you feel like you're doing okay without it and you'd rather have other people get it first who need it more, I respect that. But I don't think that reasons that you were just talking about with Matthew, I think that is ridiculous and pathetic, and you are not an active member of society, and you should rot in hell for that.
Well, I can see if the evidence was overwhelmingly negative and it was being defective, and sure there have been cases where people have had bad reactions to it, but I think when it's clearly evident that it's successful and it's helping, and we're slowly making the curve, it helps. And I just laugh at all these people on Fox News and all that stuff talk about how ridiculous it is, and how Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a representative for Georgia and Washington, was putting together this act to fire Fauci and put his salary down to 0% because $0 because people were saying in Biden's cabinet that they wanted to have a vaccine passport in order to go to businesses and say, hey, so they can know that you've been vaccinated. And she's like, oh yeah, we're gonna fire him and we're gonna do all this stuff. And I'm like, 500,000 people died during this fucking disease, a virus throughout the last year, and some of it's not effective. And then now all of a sudden, these people are starting to all for it, especially Sarah Palin, who's a nut job in herself, got it, and she was saying now you should get it. It's just it's ridiculous, but whatever. Michael, you do a great Sarah Palin impression. Not. But now, with that being said, we can chat later, Michael, about all this stuff later in the show. But now I want to switch it to another person who's got a very, maybe not him specifically, but his age group has a important thing as well, because they were kind of the first group of people to go back to school in person, I would say, and that being Mr. Matthew. And I want to say first out of the way, thank you for coming on the show. You're one of the, not the youngest, but one of the younger people on the show, not to sound weird, but I want to thank you. I know last time we tried to do this when Michael came on, we couldn't put something together, so I'm happy that we put something together. But I want to know, and I know you're busy, with stocking Walmart and stuff, but what's it been like though for you compared from the first wave of this to then the second wave?
Well, in the first wave, everything was really unproductive. during my junior year of high school. It was the second half of the junior year of high school. I felt like I really did nothing every day. You know, I kind of woke up, I'd get on my computer and sit there for 6 hours. And to an extent, that's still how it feels to this day. But
Yeah.
as a senior, I don't really do much at all right now. You know, I'm into college, my senior project's done, and all my grades are consistently well right now. So it's like, I don't really have much to do every day. And every day is really the same routine for me personally. And it's been the same really since COVID really started. It's like, you know, I wake up every morning, I do my classes, usually in bed. And then at one point I get up to eat, and then, you know, I get some basketball in, I go to work, and then I go to bed. It's the same
Yeah.
thing every day, really.
What's your? I mean, the thing is, though. I mean, obviously, people who are in high school, they're not. They don't have a huge say in what goes on in the country, but they do have a voice. What's your whole, perspective on this whole thing that's affected this country in such a big way? Because I'm curious, as someone in a high school that's got that viewpoint.
It's interesting to see how all this has played out over the past year. Really being in high school, as you said, it's interesting to see what other people or the higher ups who really have the power in the society, seeing what they're doing in regards to like businesses being open, in regards of what precautions we have to take during this whole thing. And I find a lot of things, some of them being ridiculous, like as in, you know, it's a little far fetched, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I also think a lot of it is necessary to
Yeah.
everyday life. So I think, you know, we've gotten used to it now. As everyone says, it's a new normal in all reality.
Yeah.
And I think we've kind of adapted over time to know what's really right and know what the right thing to do for each person is. Because really, COVID to one person is different to another. You know, if someone has health conditions, you know, they obviously are living a very different life right now than someone like me who's completely fine and I can go out and do things.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting being in high school, especially, you know, seeing other people when I was in school, because now I'm all online. But when I was going in person, it was very interesting to see what other people thought too, and what they want to see in the future, really, with the vaccine and all coming out.
Now, I mean, obviously for Michael, we know sort of the same people at URI, so I mean, he can answer it as well as both of you. But you both know quite a bit of people, whether it be because one person or another knows a lot of people through town. But do you know do you know anybody with like a different perspective than yours and a different that's taking a different stance and isn't against it? And what's your kind of thought on that?
Would you like to go, Michael? Or?
Sure. For the vast majority of people that I know, everyone is on board with getting the vaccine, specifically family members. I don't know any family members who don't want it. As for work, I know that one person doesn't feel comfortable getting it yet, just because, as they say, some people will say it's in the early stages, and even though it was approved, she'd rather just take it safe. And again, I completely respect that. She's not saying, no, I'm not going to get it. She's just saying, I'm not going to get it right now. And I think that's totally respectable. I do know some people who are very, very stubborn. And like I mentioned before, I have heard the argument of the government's going to track me. I'm going to get cancer in 20 years. We don't know the long-term effects of this. This is all fake anyway, so why am I going to get it? And I think a lot of that has to do with not even really completely with your political beliefs, but more so demographically and geographically,
Yeah.
who you are, what community you're in, where you live. Because we here in Rhode Island, we could be thinking one thing. You might go down south, or you might go across the country, you might go up north, and there'll be a completely different group of people. And it's one thing for us to believe, and this goes for anything really. It's one thing for us to all believe this is what's right. This is what the majority of people believe. But you have to realize that there are other groups of people that think the opposite as we do. And yes, I really try and tell my friends this, we can disagree with that, but you still have to kind of respect someone's opinion. I mean, they probably think we sound as crazy as they do. So
for sure.
Yeah. Matthew, do you know anyone?
Yeah. Because
I personally, I do not know anyone who is against taking the vaccine. Even like people that I know in my age demographic that even support Trump to this day, they still are supporting the vaccine, and they think it's a good idea to take it.
Interesting.
I don't know anyone in my age group who's already gotten it or started to get it. I know one person, she had a heart condition at a young age, and she's had like multiple open heart surgeries. So I think she's already gotten her second shot as well. But other than that, I don't know anyone who's gotten the vaccine or has a schedule for it in the future.
Well, it's just it's sad in the aspect, like people in our age group that have a problem with it, and I think it stems just off of it. And no offense to who they grew up with, but their parents and grandparents, people like that who feed the knowledge of how fake it is and all that stuff, and it's been prevalent the last 5 years.
No, the other thing I think that's important to know is, despite all of your family environment and what you've came from, who you've come from, a lot of it could just be genuine fear of the unknown.
Oh yeah.
People that just from hearing the side effects of the shots just didn't want to get it, not because they were worried about long term, but quite literally, I don't want to feel like this intentionally.
Oh yeah.
And that deterred people from getting it. I know with me, I was texting you when I got my second shot. I had a fever for 2 days and I felt awful. I mean, I expected that. I wasn't shocked by it, but I know some people that saw that, they saw me and they went, no way I'm getting that second shot.
Yeah, well, it's definitely scary, and that's definitely a reasonable logistical reason. But there are other reasons I just don't get. And you see stuff like down in Miami Beach during this past spring break for colleges where the streets are packed to the brim with people, and it's like, well, what the fuck are you doing here?
Well, I know with URI, like we didn't have a spring break.
Yeah.
But I know a handful of people that literally emailed their professors and said, I had a contact with someone with COVID. I want my classes to be online. They can't deny your education from you.
Sure,
so they'll move them online, they'll move them remote. And then these people hopped on planes, went to Mexico, they went to Florida, they went to foreign countries. I didn't even know that was allowed. I know some people that like traveled, but just because they're kind of being selfish, I think, for themselves and not wanting to miss out on this time. And I get that, but you have to realize what's going on in the world and make sure that you're taking care of everyone else. And by being selfish, you're hurting people.
Now for Mr. Matthew, this will be solely just for you. You work at a major, massive company. How long have you been working at Target is my question.
I've been working there for about 7 months now.
So almost the length of the entire pandemic. How has it been working at Target, and how do you think they've done in regards to this pandemic and dealing with it?
I think there's
and don't be afraid to be honest either. You can shit talk.
Oh no, I'll be honest.
Because no one watches this anyway.
No, I think they do some things very well, and they do some things like they could improve upon. Right? I think they're a great company personally. They do a lot of great things. But like some things they do really well. They really enforce the masks. If you walk in without a mask, we will go up to the person. We'll say, "Hey, could you take a mask?" The only reason someone could deny it is if they have COPD or something around those lines. And if they do say that, we can't do anything about it. We can't really legally kick those people out. But other than that, we try to enforce it. In the 7 months I've worked there, I've seen only like 3 anti-maskers ever. So I'd say they do a pretty good job there. A lot of they tell us, if someone's wearing it below the nose, they'll pull it up. They tell us to let people know that if we see them. Because a lot of the time you see customers who just wander around the store. They have it down. They're just drinking something, They get like a drink from McDonald's down the street. They just come in with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of defeating the purpose, really. And they're saying like no one's around, but it can really be on surfaces and everything. It was interesting as stocking different items. It was weird. A long time, the paper towels and toilet paper, there really was none. So it's like I put it out on the floor one day, and then literally within hours, it's all gone.
Oh yeah,
it was crazy. Same thing with disinfecting wipes. And even if we had limits on certain items, the machines up front, the registers, you can scan as many as you want. It won't tell you to stop. You just have to know. Okay. And during these times, they hired a lot of new people, and they didn't really care. So some people would buy all the things and then it'd be right out the door, and then no one else could have those materials that they really need, and then the whole 6 feet at Target, I would say no one really follows that. It's really out of their control. They have like some of the stickers on the ground for just the checkout lanes. They don't have anywhere else in the store. But other than that, we used to sanitize each self-checkout machine as well and each register. We don't do that anymore. If someone asks, we will. But we don't regularly do that anymore. We used to do it after every single guest that went through the store. And overall, since I started working there, they give us like text updates whenever someone gets COVID. I think we've had maybe 20 cases total in the past 7 months, which isn't too bad because there are like 200 plus team members there. So I'd say Target themselves, everything, it's been pretty good there. They do a pretty good job of handling it.
Well, it's interesting about the mask, Target, but that's not surprising anywhere. When I go play tennis up at Tennis Rhode Island and Warwick, there's a bunch of, and it's always men above the age of 55 and up that aren't wearing their mask. They're wearing it here, then they're wearing it just up here, then down here, and they're defeating the whole purpose. But whatever. But without further ado, enough of the COVID shit for now. This is the segment I like to do where I play videos and I get your reaction. Sometimes in the past they've been over 2 minutes, but usually they're between 30 seconds and a few minutes. I'll get your reaction. I'll see what you're thinking. On the cool guy scale, I'll ask what it is. So let's hit the share.
Are these different videos than I saw last time?
Oh, yes. The season 2, I tried my best to change them up. I'll ask you to put your thumbs up just so I know that you can hear them. So share sounds on.
Na Elfie to nie ma mowy, zamykanie drzwi, rozruch, to wszystko panowie są w tym miejscu, nie... Co tu nie ma? No skąd tam? Nie są kurwa w lesie, bo zaraz wylecie jak nie jeleń. No kurwa, no skajcie. Dobra tam, chuj z kacznikiem tam. Tu nikt prawie nie jeździ. O, kurwa! O cię pierdolę. Kurwa.
I saw that. I forget where I saw that. That might have been TikTok. I'm not sure. I thought it was the funniest thing ever, and it's surprising because a lot of blood and gore I'm not a huge fan of. I think it's in Europe, somewhere in Russia or Germany or some area like that where they speak that language like that. Thought it was a great video. Thought it was entertaining. Deer do that a lot. I know Jenna last week said that that happens all the time. Not like that, but you've seen that all the time. A lot of roadkill in Rhode Island, but that's a great video. Let's play this next one. This next one I want to play was pretty popular in the news. They covered it all over the internet, but let's do it. Wait, shoot. What's this?
Hey, Twitter
shoot,
world.
No, my bad. No, that's OJ Mahomes.
Mahomes.
No, gotta get that out. Gotta get OJ Mahomes off there. Anyways,
a lot can happen with a simple
damn it, ads.
Share your ideas, tell your story.
Okay, so this video was on the news a few weeks ago. It was President Biden walking up the stairs to Air Force One. Salutes them. And here we go. And that's who's leading the country at the age of 78. And what was funny about this is that all the people on the Fox News and OWN and whatever it is, all those Newsmax and stuff like that, they're all saying, "Oh yeah, he's old and he and all this stuff." And then they forget to mention that Trump had issues walking down a ramp and drinking water out of a small glass. And it's unfortunate that that's our leader of the free world, but.
Well, see, listen, playing devil's advocate just a little bit because I'm pretty clumsy myself.
Yes.
You do have to realize those are carpet steps.
Oh, yes.
And he's wearing dress shoes, which typically don't have like the most,
And it sounded like it was pretty windy that day. And I'm not saying like he's a klutz or anything like that, or he's pathetic. I just thought it was funny that, people were making fun of him when meanwhile the previous one was even worse. But I think it was a great moment. I liked how he played it off like nothing happened. Definitely not the worst thing that could have happened. Had any of you guys seen this beforehand when it first came out?
I have.
It's a great. This next one we'll switch it up on the political ladder.
Nolan.
Live on air.
Well, listen. I hate to do this to you, but
yeah,
your screen's been frozen for about a minute now.
Really?
Yeah.
What am I doing? What's going wrong?
I don't know. Why don't you just stop the screen share and then start it again?
So it hasn't been playing at all.
No, I saw the first one. The deer I saw.
And I
Oh.
thought the Biden one caught up eventually towards the end.
That's
But that
embarrassing. That's embarrassing. That's gonna stay in the recording. That's gonna be
It's totally fine. It adds to it.
Yeah, that's gonna be the beginning thing that's gonna hook them in. So you didn't see the Biden one at all.
Well, no, we did.
So you saw that. So okay.
I saw.
I'll
Now
try.
I'll try. Nolan Carr has started screen sharing, but I still can't see your screen.
So you saw the deer exploding. Then you saw you saw the OJ Mahomes one.
Oh, I'm seeing it now. Yes.
And then you saw the Biden one falling eventually.
Eventually.
Oh, so now I'll play the Sean Hannity one. Is it working?
Yes.
I'll play it again. Look what's in his mouth.
Is that a jewel?
Yeah.
I just think his glasses are really crooked.
So the man was ripping mango live on air on Fox News. Let's play this. Let's slow this down a little bit.
Oh boy.
Damn, is that menthol or mango?
Maybe it's just water vapor.
Michael, remember that time when at Hillside when you were pretending to be like Gavin and you exhaled it in but didn't swallow it down?
Yes, I do.
Yes. Now I showed Michael this video, the first video, this next video, the first time it was on. This time it'll be new to you, Matthew.
Right.
I'll give an update at the end of the video.
I can't see it right now.
Let's put the first one on and then we'll click to this one again.
It's still frozen on Sean Hannity.
This is great. Great.
It's all right.
Oh, shoot.
There you.
Is it playing?
Time to wake up, my queen.
Can you see it,
Come on,
Matthew?
my queen.
It's
above
stuck
18,
on the
open
first
them beautiful
frame. But I will say, it looks like the
eyes.
guy from the
There
butler
you
from
go.
Jesse.
You are so beautiful.
Michael, can you see it?
I just love my queen.
Can you
above
hear it?
18.
Yes.
I could hear it.
Well, good morning. All right, my queen. I'll go down and put your breakfast on.
I'll refresh it.
My question is, how is this uploaded to YouTube? Like, did this guy upload it? Or...
No, if this is, if anything could have gone wrong today, it was this. Now is it playing from the
Time to
beginning?
wake
I
up,
see
my
it now.
queen.
Yep.
Come on, my
Oh.
queen above 18. Open them beautiful eyes. There you go. You are so beautiful. I just love my queen above 18. Well, good morning. All right, my queen. I'll go down and put your breakfast on. I'll get you some nice hot cup of coffee.
Some
Go
nice.
take your shower, and I'll meet you in the kitchen. I love you too, my queen above 18. I will see you in a little bit. Yes, you look beautiful.
So hopefully you saw that. What I'll explain this. So this guy's name is Steve Sumner. He's from Ohio, and he's a truck driver. I found him on TikTok, and he gives a lot of videos like this where it's motivation. It's not necessarily this POV type of shot, but similar videos like this. And he's really like, oh, my beautiful kings and queens of 18. Really prefaces 18 because you got to be 18 to see his content. Because I'm guessing that he got caught beforehand being a little sneaky and getting a few people who were below the median, if you know what I'm saying. And now he really prefaces. First, his videos were just like, oh, let me see them boobies hanging. I want to see them tits through the shirt. And interesting guy. It's Michael can agree. He's got a girlfriend. I'm sure he thinks and she thinks it's gross as well. I think it's pretty repulsive. The only thing I find comical about it is that he thinks it's normal and that's justifiable. And he has merch. So Matthew, I'm sure goggling over this guy. I think he's the coolest ever. You can go on to his, you can go to his email. It's
He has
Kings
an
and Queens.
email.
It's Kings and Queens at Kings and Queens above 18 at gmail.com. He'll send you a little Google sheet form. You put what you want, how much of it, and then your information, your address, your social security, your blood sample.
No.
And then he'll send you their
No.
tank tops, sweatshirts, sweatpants, hats, coffee mugs. It says Kings and Queens above 18 on the sleeve, Kings above 18 around the top of the breast area.
I'm not 18 yet, though. I can't do that.
Well, the thing is, on his TikToks, he prefaces this. He says, if you're not above 18, you may sneak by a few times, 2 or 3 times, but afterwards, I will find you and I will delete you. So what he's saying basically is that he'll delete you off the entire app, because he's that powerful. He's posted stuff online of him meeting fans up because he likes to do that. And I forgot to mention that in order to get the merch, because it takes about 3 weeks to get to you, you have to Venmo him money. Then you got to send money through his Cash app. If you want a shout out, it's between $5 to $15, depending on what it is. And you can be the king of the week. You can be anything you want. He's an interesting guy. A few of the videos he's met with people, it's very sketchy because they're like, and he's like, look at my queen right here. Her name is Sarah. She's working here at Walmart and she wanted to meet up with the king. Follow her page and do all this stuff.
What if I saw him at Target? That'd be insane.
Yes. One video was like, oh, this girl, her name is Erica, whatever it was, and she wants to go ride it on my motorcycle with me. So let's go. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, well, this man's username, YouTube channel's name is Plumpy.
No, this isn't his YouTube. This isn't his YouTube.
I don't care. I'm not watching anything or supporting anything with a guy that's on a YouTube channel called Plumpy.
See, some of the videos, his original ones, I'm guessing, or just these ones, have been taken off his account by him. So they screen recorded.
To put a shirt on.
Yes,
he looks like the butler from Jesse. I'm telling you,
he's in perfect condition. Like? So Michael, I know before he probably gave a bad, negative review, but Matthew Sangiuliano on the cool guy scale, 1 being the least coolest, 10 being the coolest of guys, what do you give him?
I give him a solid 2.
Okay.
I think there's some comedic relief in there, but
yes.
I'm 17.
Yes. This next one is a great one. Now this one, you're gonna have to, whether it's frozen or whatnot or it's delayed, you're gonna have to turn up the volume because he's a little low of talking. His voice is pretty low or high, and quiet. But here we go.
YouTube. It's Big Wow.
Is it going?
Yeah.
So you're gonna really have to listen to what he says at first because he spits bars.
What up, YouTube? It's Big Wow. Bitches be stopping on my knob. I'm back here again.
It's Big Rob and bitches be slopping on my knob.
Do a review, a drink review. I've had this drink before, but I figured that I review it to let others know what I think about it. So Mountain Dew USA. It's actually really good.
Really good.
It's 3 flavors collided together.
How do you find these videos, Nolan? It only has like 400 views.
See, now this one, how I came about is this guy who I follow on Twitch. His name's Nolan Roseborough, and he was playing this video, I think, on that, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. So I searched and I couldn't find it. And then I asked people, and they helped me find it. I had to save it. This guy's great though.
Here we go. Like I said, I've tasted this before, but I'm gonna actually tell you like what I like about it and stuff. So here we go. Pinky up.
Very official, pinky up. The kiss of approval, like Italians do.
Like I said, it's one of my faves.
It's one of his faves.
It's like, it's a foodie flavor.
It's a foodie flavor.
Fucking good.
Big Rob.
Fucking banging.
Fucking banging, he says.
I have another taste. Pinky up.
Pinky up, remember.
He's going in for seconds.
Seconds, sloppy seconds, as they say. Look at the watch the lips. Watch the lips. Oh,
That's good. But yeah, I fucking love it. It's tasty as shit. Go get you some. It's Mountain Dew USA. It's basically everywhere. So go try that shit.
so
I
this
can
guy's
tell
name
you,
is
not
what?
inclined. I'm not inclined at all to try Mountain Dew USA. I'm really not.
This guy, his name is Big Rob. He hasn't posted stuff on it. This is the actual channel, so it's not like Floppy, wherever was the guy previously. He hasn't posted in a few years. He would post his food reviews or UFC fights or just any other opinions he has. He does it in great visual areas in his basement, his unfinished basement. And he did one review, which was the greatest thing ever. And it was 2 pieces of white bread. In between it was dip, Copenhagen dip, and he put the dip between the 2 pieces of bread and he eat it. And he goes, now before I do this, I'm probably gonna throw up, and I'm gonna have my sister to keep recording me even so. He does it, and he eats it, and he goes, bleh, and it goes everywhere, and it looks like SpaghettiOs all over his plate. And he runs to the bathroom, and says, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. But I think what about this video, which is great, is great setup, great lighting. I like the floor, the 2x4s above him. It's great. What are your guys' opinions on Big Rob?
I think you should keep reviewing. Maybe some more more normal things, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
not the dip sandwich. I don't want to see that video.
That'll be for a later episode. I can show. No, he's a great. I like the receding hairline he has, and I like the neck beard. It's the same type of frizziness and disgustingness that I have with my facial hair. Great guy though overall, I think. Harmless. This next section of videos is my heavier section. So embrace.
Heavier. Was the deer
You
not
are
heavy enough?
great.
No. Just tell me if this is playing.
You are great. When is your violin concert?
June 15th.
What's the day today?
June
This
11th.
Friday?
Can you come to my concert? Can you?
Sure.
So this guy just interrupts. The kid just interrupts. This is an interesting video. Is it playing?
It is. What does that mean?
I'm not laughing at that.
Yeah, it's a normal guy that looks in the mirror. It's him missing a few with a few things added on top of his normal scale. If you can catch my drift.
Gotcha.
Richard, what's your favorite animal? What's your favorite animal?
Monkey.
Was it playing?
Yes.
Unfazed, I guess.
I'm glad you're laughing, Nolan.
I'm hard to crack.
It's not heavy enough. I don't want to be taken down off of YouTube. But his favorite animal is monkey.
Intellectual Eric prides himself on being a connoisseur of arts and creativity, from gravestones to ballet.
I think I'm well read. I think I'm well spoken. I think I'm well above average. It is important to me to carry myself in a manner where people are going to say, you know what, he knows what he's doing.
If you want any advice.
Oh, this is the king right here. This is King Ozzy himself.
Ozzy Osbourne.
From me about tattoos. If you want any advice from me about tattoos, to be somebody unique, don't have a tattoo because everybody and their friend has got tattoos.
Hey, be unique.
To the best of my understandably shaky
Oh, this guy's this not James Patterson, although he's great with
died.
reading. This is another great video.
Quite catchy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Again.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
The Minecraft oof. This final video, I could see the clapping guy really got to Matthew. This last video, he is the king of kings. His name is King Ian.
King Ian.
Hello guys, hope you're all okay. So it's food reveal time. I'm not going to eat it on the camera tonight. I'm going to just show you the food, then I'm going to eat it up. Let's show you what I have today.
Why does it have so many dislikes?
A mushroom and sweet corn pizza. We have garlic pizza bread with mushroom and cheese. We have cheesy chips. And we have a bottle of cola. There we go, guys.
So unhealthy.
A meal fit for a king. So I'm going to enjoy that now. And I will hopefully speak to you a little later on in the messages. Take care, guys. Hope you enjoy the video. I normally do eat it on the video tonight. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to have a comfortable eating it and scoff it down. Cheers, guys. Hope you like the video.
Wait.
If you do, please give it a like.
This is only 3 days ago?
Yeah, this is only 3 days ago.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, oh yes, and he's got other stuff on here. This guy, King Ian Moore, he was on TikTok and it got deleted, but now he's back and he's on YouTube. He's got merch as well, but it's honestly way more official and stuff. And he just does this stuff. He goes on, does lives for like 8 hours. He's from London, if you could tell by his accent, and he's on forever. And he does a lot of eating. It's a lot of gross food and cheesecakes and pizza and McDonald's and just does this stuff. He got in trouble with the law a while ago with talking to certain groups of people, but interesting guy. Doesn't seem that bad. He's got cameos, so if you want to spend $40 on him to give you a shout out, you can do that. But great guy overall. Michael, what do you think of him?
I think his crown is pretty nice, and his meals look quite unappetizing. But if he's happy, that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's very disgusting. I'm sure Matthew, you could voice your opinion. I think
Matthew eats worse than that. Matthew eats like he's a garbage disposal. He eats more.
Yeah,
than
the few times that I've been over to your house to stay over, the only thing I've seen him eating is pasta, and more pasta.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But this guy had the pizza looked like it was a stick as a tire. He had
it looks greasy.
The cheesy fries that were covered in cheese, and they had the entire liter of soda just for himself. Are you crazy?
I could never put that down.
Would you couldn't eat those 2 large pizzas and the cheesy fries?
I have trouble getting through 1 large pizza usually, and
I have trouble eating 1 slice of pizza. I don't really like.
I have trouble eating a meal in general.
Nolan takes a bite of something and then takes the rest home, and who knows if he ever eats it. Yes. But yet we go to restaurants and he orders 2 of everything because whatever the special is, he'll get.
Yes. But no, this guy, I saw a recent video of his that he did, and he was like, guys, I'm not just eating and getting fat and all that stuff. I'm not gonna have a heart attack, so stop saying that. They're just haters. They're just trolls. And he's like, I'm just doing it because sometimes I don't eat during the day. Sometimes I eat my breakfast and I don't have lunch because I'm sleeping. I have dinner, so I'm just eating and I'm doing it, and it's making me filled up, and that's okay. So mind your business. And he's got a cat and stuff. He's got an Amazon wish list. So if you want to do there, a lot of stuff is on there is liquor. But he's on the cool guy scale. I think he's a 6, not that big of a coolest guy. But Michael, what do you give him on the cool guy scale?
I see nothing wrong with him. He's harmless, fun. He's just trying to show the people his meals. I give him a good 7 or 8. He's not doing anything wrong. I mean, anyone compared to Mr. Queen above 18 plumpy dude is going to get a good rating. So I'm all for the king over here.
What about you, Matthew? What do you give him on the scale?
I'd give him a strong 5.
A 5.
I'd say, he's just eating some food, but after you said he was getting in trouble with talking to certain people, it made me think a little more, about just what the meals were. So
yeah, he's I like the angle he does it where it's like, good morning, he's looking down, and some of the videos he looks exactly like a boulder because he's got no neck, and his shoulder, his back fat on the top by his shoulders sticks out, and he's just like but real job of the hut. But coolest guy. With that being said, I'll have my final segment of the program, and that's the personal section. Michael remembers that, and what me and Michael obviously already shared how we know each other and stuff and how we met, but we can sort of go more with me and Matthew. I'll kind of I'll since I was a guest at your house, I'll let you go first and how you remember first meeting me.
I don't really remember too much. I remember it was one night. Was it 2 years ago now? Because I think I was a sophomore still.
Yeah.
So yeah, you, it was you, Michael. It was one of your friends, I think. All three of you were there. I forget who it was. But it was the three of you. And wasn't there a campfire that night? Was there a fire
Yeah.
that night, or did you just come over?
Yeah, I forget how I remember it is as I'm stuttering like a fool. How I remember it, there was at that time, but it was a different time. The first time we met, it was I think I was staying over your house, if I'm not mistaken, Michael. And I forget what we were doing. I think I had come up. I had taken the bus from school, the RIPTA, which was big for me because I'd never done it before. Michael can attest how difficult that was for me. Then he picked me up at in Providence, and we drove to his house, and I stayed over. And yeah, I don't know if it was your parents meeting for the first time, but I met you, and here you come up the stairs, and your dad or your mother was like, Matthew, your Michael has a friend here or something, her high shrilly voice, and you walk upstairs and you're like, oh, hi. And then you walk around. That was it. And for some reason it's weird because my sister who's the same age as you. And on a side note, for some reason my father, who's not interested in who I have on the show, was like, who are you having? I said, oh, I'm gonna have Michael and his brother. And he goes, oh, how old's he again? Because he likes to forget this stuff and then just ask it randomly. And he's like, oh, what's he doing for school next year? And I don't know. It doesn't really facilitate any substance and place in my head. But I'm not that curious. And he goes, oh, well, maybe you can ask him that on the show. So my father and mother are often curious on both how your lives are going, although they've never met Matthew. Actually, no, once. That one time at URI moving day last year, but. Yeah. What I remember is then we went outside for the fire. It was the first time we had ever had a fire. It was that shitty fireplace your father had bought where the rocks were falling off and chipping. Yeah. And Michael's doing it. We're struggling because the wood's wet, and we take Michael brings the
lighter fluid.
Yes,
that was great.
And I'm pouring it down on there. Matthew is like acting like one of those kids who sits in the back corner of the room facing backwards. He's like,
yeah. No, that was magical.
Yes, and I'm dumping the whole thing on it, and it goes whoosh.
There was a trail of fire through the grass leading up to the fire pit, and there was fire falling out of the fire.
That was sick.
It was going up the side, and you could just see there was layers and layers and thickness of lighter fluid all around it, and it was going to the grass. And Michael's freaking out. And your father later I was like, oh, you shouldn't do that. But and then he started laughing and smiling with his missing teeth. And it was interesting for sure. Matthew liked that. Michael wasn't sure, but I've seen your father likes to give a few grins where he I think is he missing a tooth? I swear he's missing.
No, I don't think he is.
They're just crooked.
Yes, it might be that just a few of them are crooked.
You just benefit from some braces.
Yes. I have an image of Dino actually I found recently. I was going through my old texts and I found an image of him at an auction. I thought you'd like to see it. It's a text that says, me with a samurai sword and stash.
Oh, I have that picture too.
I forgot this existed.
I think Michael, you share that to me whenever that was. And I think after that we.
That's me.
I like the one where your father's missing the half of his eyebrow.
Oh, remember that image you made where it says it's like Facebook, Instagram, and then like Tinder.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all.
It was so there was. I forget what it was. I had found that the picture of him when he has sitting it with a cup of coffee. The one I sent to Merlino with the lady filter, and he was like, "Oh, that woman's hot as fuck. I want to bang her." And like that's Michael's father. But it was a picture of him with that, and it was like LinkedIn him, and there was another one. He was all crazy and stuff. And it was like Instagram, the other one was Tinder, and I'd have to find it.
I'd like to see that again because I don't remember that.
Yes, I'm looking for it right now. Yes. I thought I had it saved. I do have it saved. It's right here.
LinkedIn, Instagram. No, what possessed you to look up pictures of my father and find that?
I don't know what it was. And the thing is, this is what I'm getting to. The thing is, even with Matthew, now most people. I think that aren't him that around his age, I don't get the best vibe from, and it's hard for me to associate with really anyone. And it barely even saying anything to Matthew. We both have the same thing with random strangers, very short vocabulary and focus, and we'd rather be in our rooms. And I just, for some reason, was like, damn, these people are cool. And I was in a gaze seeing your father. He is such a cool, legendary man. And for some reason, I just had the intuition to do that. Back then I was just in the zone, just trying to make memes and stuff. And that was one of the first things I shared with Matthew that got him laughing. I think just after that, dinner was much smoother. Then we had another fire when Natalie came over. I think Gavin was there, and that was not successful. Then that time when we were gonna go get milkshakes with Merlino, Michael, and then your father came, then Matthew came, and then Natalie came, and then
I got stuck because Merlino
Yes.
had a mental breakdown and blocked us in and took our keys, and then you all went, and I was stuck at his house.
Yes, and then your dad was like, "Oh, you didn't come. Oh, he's not doing this."
Didn't you get 2 awful waffles, Nolan?
Yes, I always get 2 awful waffles.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like 2 awful waffles. I gotta pay for this.
Normally, what people
He
do,
said, "I gotta pay for this."
normally, what people do when they go and get awful waffles with a friend, when it's buy one get one, usually one person buys one and the other person get one. Typically, one person doesn't buy one and get one for themselves, then expect the other person to get their own. It kind of defeats the purpose.
I get 2, so I automatically makes the other person have to get 2. And then I remember the other time when I went with you, Michael, and I met your father for the first time. He was coming back from work, his hair all greasy, and he was in his white shirt, hunched over, walking in, and Merlino was there. And he's like, hi. And then he's like, 2 awful waffles.
Well, see, the thing is you say that when you get 2 awful waffles, it forces the other person to get 2. Nolan, I think I got awful waffles with you at least a dozen times this past summer, and I have never once gotten 2. I think I usually got 1 and gave you another one. So you ended up going home with 3, and I went home with 1. You went home with 3 for the price of 1, and I went home with 1 for the price of 1.
I know many times before I've gone to and we've had to pay for 3 of them, which is weird, but that time will be coming up soon eventually. But no, it's definitely been a wonderful. I'm trying to think of any untold stories between me, Michael, and us 2 together that have happened. I can't think of any. I think a story that definitely speaks up to the viewers that I shared with Michael is that time I did sleep over the first time, and it was either between the bed and the basement couch where Mike and Matthew's lair, and Michael was like, no, he's not gonna sleep down there. That's uncomfortable. I'll do it. He can sleep on my bed. And your father was like, no, he can sleep down there. I just slept down there last night. It's great. I swear. It's great. It's comfortable and stuff. And he's like, it wasn't a great last night, Nolan. See, he likes it. He's okay with it. Yeah.
What then? Listen, what are your honest thoughts and opinions? How was the couch, Nolan, in the basement?
I'll be honest, and the thing is, I said it to him, and I try to be completely honest, especially with someone like himself, who I feel as though I can, be freely, which I've done before. I don't like sleeping on couches often because I can't get a good place to sleep. I don't like hanging off half of it. But once I found my spot and I was basically like this down the couch, I slept fine. I woke up obviously 7 a.m. as I always do when I sleep on a couch, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't uncomfortable. I had the television. It was that couch.
This couch is great.
Yes, I had to take off all the cushions and stuff so I could lay.
Right, it's a little tight. It's a little tight.
Yes, it's a little tight. And I'm not the tallest person, so it was really awkward, but it wasn't that bad. I enjoy. I'm trying to think of any other fun stories. Oh, I didn't tell you this, Michael. Or I think I did. But I don't know if Matthew heard about the first one. So the first time this happened, me and Michael met Jenna in New York, we met her in New York, and we took the train to the city and whatnot, and that was great. And we in Yonkers, we go to this diner because we hadn't had breakfast yet, and it's owned by this Greek guy. We're eating and stuff, and the shades were up, and the lights coming in like this with my ring lights. And the Greek guy walks over in this probably 70s or 80s, and he's like, "I pulled the shades down for the girl." And meanwhile, my hair is, can be very long. It's not now because it's in a shirt, but you can tell how long it is with my 5-finger forehead. And for the man, he wasn't sure, and he's like, I pulled the shades down for the female, thinking I'm a female. And he's like, oh. And then he's like, oh, my bad. And he walks away with fear in his eyes. You could see through his glasses that I thought I was a female. Then recently, I was doing Doordash last weekend, a gold mine of a weekend, and I'm making this delivered to this apartment complex behind Washington Trust Bank to the security guy, this big, burly guy, type of person Gavin likes. And and he's like, I'm giving to him the security guy, security on him, guns and all this stuff, really macho, like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator. And I pull down my window, give him, he's like, oh, thanks, Matt. And I freeze this as he's saying ma'am because my long hair is down, and he's like, oh, thanks, sir, right? As he interrupts it, I'm like, fuck you. And then I drive away and speed away. That was great. I ended after that, but it was definitely interesting. It's an interesting experience, definitely for myself. I'm trying to think of any other. Michael, can you think of any other stories that we haven't discussed happen to us? And
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, but I do want to just, put out a general statement that you are the absolute worst driver I've ever been in a car with in my life.
Yes.
I do want to hear a DoorDash story, Nolan. Do you have any good DoorDash?
Do I have any
stories?
DoorDash? I mean, besides so I had one the weekend prior. So I'll give background for those who don't know or haven't tuned in. Last week in Michael's week, we've shared, and for those who don't know Michael, we on occasion do DoorDash. We don't do it often, but we do it from time to time, and we split the profits. It's great. He drives, I deliver it. But there was one time I've been doing it a lot recently by myself. I started in the summertime and I stopped, and I got back into it after break in January. And I'm in work, and as I've always been doing it. And where I did it was, it was my friend delivered the night, and it was McDonald's. Someone had gotten a double cheeseburgers and whatnot, delivering. It says, pull up to the back of the Warwick City Hall building. Further directions will happen then. So I'm like, great. I'm either gonna get A, murdered, B, raped, or C, stabbed, or D, everything stolen from me. Then on what was gonna happen. So I'm starting to get a little anxious, as I always do in that situation. For Michael, no big deal. For me, though, I was starting to tweak out a little bit, like a Karen. And I'm driving back, and I'm pulling back of the building, and all of a sudden I see some sweat standing by the back of this door, waving his hands, like echoing me. And it was an Episcopalian church, and that's where it was. And I'm like, okay, I'll pull in, and like, all right, I'm like, Doordash, and I was like, yeah, Nolan's here, yeah. Freaking, I'm like, what's going on here? I don't know who the fuck you are. I don't know what you're doing. Please stop. And I pull up, and I'm like, okay, here you go. And I said, pardon my French, because it was a church. I said, I didn't know what the hell was going on here. I thought, someone was going to bad happen. Like, oh no, we just do it just in case. And next thing you know, Nolan struck rich, as he usually does. And two females were looking out the window, and the sweat guy was like, oh yeah, by the way, my friend thinks you're hot. I'm like, what? Ayo. And I didn't know who it was, and I was like, thanks. And because I'm not gonna take that L. I'm not gonna be caught lacking, if you know what I'm saying. And it was weird. And she's like, oh, I think you're hot. I love you. And I was like, excuse me. I'm like, thank you for saying that. And then I just drove away because I'm not falling for it, especially since it was March, and you know what March month is? It's International Women's Month, and I'm not falling for that during that month. And it was definitely interesting. It was a wild experience. I should have stayed, but I don't want to get caught lacking in that area, depending on how old they were. Didn't want to be on the nightly news. There have been other moments almost similar to like that, as Michael knows. Trying to have any other interesting ones. There've been ones where I pulled up to some sketchy apartments with Michael that I thought I was gonna get.
Yeah, but we have very different definitions of sketchy. Something that no one gets scared if, like there's a street light out on the street. He's like, I'm gonna get stabbed. Oh,
no, it's not that.
It's not that big of a deal. We're like in areas that are not that bad, and he's freaking out. I'm like, just go. You're fine. I shine the high beams on him.
Yes. No, and I'll agree. Yes, I'm way more on edge about stuff like that. But there are some instances where we've been in the not the best of sections of Providence. And Michael can agree to that. There's some interesting sections.
I just have a higher tolerance.
Yes, I don't drive around there often. And there are a lot of places, I'm not culturally, whatever it is, appropriating whatever it is, but some of the triple-decker houses, maybe a rundown car or broken window, whatever it is. So I have to walk up 3 flights of stairs when it's pitch dark, can't see. I don't know what's going to happen, especially when the door to the building is wide open. And there are some instances where I've ran back to my car. Nothing's happened.
It's like every time Nolan drops the foot at the door, and he sprints back to the car.
Yes.
Like, go.
I'm like, Michael, and if anything bad happens, you're in charge of all my funeral processions. I'm leaving my wallet and my phone here, and we'll go from there. I don't think of any other funny DoorDash. Can you think of any, Michael? Oh, tell him share the one about the milkshake one.
Oh, there was a time that we went to Five Guys to pick up some milkshakes and some food, and we got there and we got the milkshakes, we got the food. Nolan goes in and gets the stuff. I always wait in the car. I'm in charge of the driving and running the phone, and he just does all the running. And he got back to the car, and we're just checking the order, making sure that everything was there. And we realized that the person ordered 2 milkshakes, but we had 4. So quite simply, we just took them and we drank them. I don't know if we drank the ones that were supposed to be delivered to them, but we sipped them all and then just kind of took the 2 that we liked.
Interesting.
It was it was weird, and I'm rushing out because someone was like, "Oh yeah, these milk, I'm missing a milkshake," and I'm like, "That might be theirs." So we rushed out. It was like banana. It was like banana Oreo chip or whatever it was. Disgusting. There was an instance during DoorDash afterwards. I had to go to the bathroom. Couldn't hold it in. I didn't want to just walk into a restaurant or drive home.
We were stop. We were in a parking lot of not Applebee's,
Chili's.
A park of Chili's, and he very well could have gone into the restaurant and gone to the bathroom. There are many other places that we stopped that night that he could have gone into the bathroom. There were many wooded areas that we could have stopped and he could have gone to the bathroom. He probably could have held it, so he could have gone home and gone to the bathroom, but instead Nolan took the approach of opening his car door when he was probably like less than a foot away from mine and peeing right on the pavement outside my window.
It's kind of funny though.
Yes, I opened I opened one of his doors and my door so you couldn't see, and I let loose, and it was fine.
He's done this more than once.
Yes, I've done this more than once. Well, it's just like, who cares? No one up there is gonna know who I am, so you might as well just do it for fun. Now less about me, more about you two. Do you have any funny stories of experiences you shared together that you can quickly share?
Do we have any funny? Because we did DoorDash for a little while. Oh my God, your first DoorDash order, the first one you ever did. You tell it.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll start. So he just started DoorDash. It was the first one. We went down to Warwick, and we were really excited for the first one. Our first one was at Uno. It was. So he sent me in charge of like going into the buildings and picking up the food and bringing it back. So I had his phone.
Same thing that you and I do, Nolan. Same thing.
Same thing, basically. I went in. And I asked for the name, the DoorDash driver. And this guy's like, oh, we gave it to another DoorDash driver already. And I was like losing it crying in this Uno. I walked out and told Michael to come in. And Michael was furious, right? He gets on the phone with the DoorDash tech support or whatever. And he's trying to explain it. And they did not get the food ready. We had to wait there for like 20 more minutes just to get this person's food. And we barely got paid for it. They didn't even tip. And I thought that was a great first experience for Michael.
Oh yeah, it's great. I had one the other night when I was doing it, and I made like I think it was last week. I think it was Friday because Saturday I didn't do anything because my aunt and cousins were coming over for a fire. And on Friday I made $73 in one night. For me that was the most ever. I had 10 orders, and Sunday night I did again. Was bound to make at least $85 one night, which is again a lot for myself. And I'm cooking. It was ending within the next half hour. It was like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I get one for Chipotle in Warwick around that main stretch, and then I had one for Burger King. Both are across the street. I decided to go to Chipotle because it's right there. I'm going there. I'm waiting. This person goes. This person the order gets put out. This person gets the order put out. This and that. I had to wait there for like 30 friggin' minutes just for my order, and they were like, "Oh yeah, sorry, it wasn't made yet." What? I'm waiting there for 30 minutes for them. And of course, I had to cancel the other one because it was ready 20 minutes ago. And I was so upset, and it was so ridiculous. And they're like, "Oh, here you go. Sorry."
Which one of you was I with when I've only done DoorDash with you guys. Which one was I with when the guy thought I was a cop and ran away from the car?
That was me.
Oh, you gotta share that.
He has his license plate, right, where it's only 2 letters, and he's driving a Ford Taurus, a black Ford Taurus, doing like DoorDash at 11 p.m. And this guy comes out of his apartment, and like, he's like walking back and forth, like looking at us, like he isn't coming to the car. And we roll down the window and say it's DoorDash. He's like, "I thought you were a cop," just because of the Taurus.
Well, I mean, Michael also has had police sirens on his car, so I mean, that's not as bad. He's also driven as fast as police cars.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing, there was one more. I know it was with Matthew. We went and we delivered the food at this house. It was the correct address. I did it right. Took a picture of it and everything. And we were driving away, and the guy calls. He's like, "Yeah, you just dropped off the food, but you dropped it off at the neighbor's house. I want you to come back and bring it to my house." I'm like, it was literally, but it wasn't like I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't like it was a house and a house next to each other. They were literally like part of the same like duplex. It was like on the same deck. It was in front of the wrong door. And he's like, "You need to come back and fix it. You brought it to the wrong house." I'm like, okay. So we turned around. It was a really, really awful driveway. It was like behind this house and like this middle cement area. So we drove back, and then as soon as I pulled in, the guy called again. He's like, "Oh, actually, I just looked out the window wrong. It's in the right place. Sorry." Like, you just made me turn around and try and fix this. Do you remember that one?
I do remember that.
It was
there was one instance where on Airport Road in Warwick, where the main stretch of places are, there's a restaurant, Bertucci's, and they have like 3 or 4 billion other small businesses that are in there doing restaurant things. And a guy orders something for I think it was from Just Wings or where it was. It's a smaller place in there, and he's like, after you pick up the order, now mind you, the restaurant, it was either Just Wings or Bertucci's is what the place was called. He's like, once you get the order from Buffalo Wild Wings, make sure there's sauce in it, because if there's no sauce in there, don't come to my house. I'm like, first of all, come again. This is Bertucci's and Just Wings, not Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't know if you're blind or a little off edge, but this ain't the right place. And second of all, who in the blue hell are you to tell me that if there's no sauce, don't come to the restaurant? Because if you're ordering and asking that, why the hell order anything in general if you're just going to say that? Because I'm spending my damn money driving to your champy-mampy house to deliver this. And I deliver it, and I don't know if there was stuff in it because you're not supposed to open the bag if it's closed. And I said, I gave up a prayer to St. Michael, and I just left it there, and I drove away going 60 miles per hour at 6 RPMs.
For every order like that you get annoyed with, I know that I actually went to this house twice, once with each of you. It was down in Coventry.
Oh, yeah.
And they're in the garage. We pull up the driveway, and they offer me drinks every time. I've been more than once. You've both been.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember. It was like really dark, and I pulled into the wrong driveway one night, and they were like, "You're in the wrong one." And
they were just in the garage, right?
And like, you want water?
Yeah, you want soda, you want water. So there are nice people too.
Yeah.
And
Also, there are a whole lot of nice people, and some of them, tip. I remember one time, it was a place in East Greenwich. It was like something RJ's or PJ's. It was like a seafood and like barbecue place, something like that. And I got there 10 minutes early, walked in. I'm waiting there for like close to an hour, waiting for the food, line out the door. And I'm texting saying, hey, sorry, this food's going to be late. And they eventually ended up tipping me like $10, which, was grateful for, or $5, whatever it was. But there are some nice people there. I like that. I like that guy's house though that we went to, and it was the wrong house, and they're sitting on the garage. I had a suspicion that either it was a father and a daughter, or a man and a really younger girlfriend or wife. I don't know. That's their choice, but whatever. Anyways, sharing stories about you is great, but I know for a fact there are some even better stories, greater stories that make you puke laughing that you've had with the patriarch of your family himself, Mr. Gino Sangiuliano. Do you care to share any of them for both of you?
Matthew knows more than me.
I have one that's like kind of related to Gino, but it's more about me. But like when we were going to estate sales, like when I was 13, we'd always go to a Cumberland Farms beforehand to get food in the morning. And like there was this, Gino was wearing a gray hoodie, and there was some other guy wearing a gray hoodie in the store. And I used to always go up to Gino and punch him. So I just went up to this random guy and punched him in the Cumberland Farms and didn't realize it was Gino. And I was freaking out. I like was laughing, but I was like, I'm so sorry. And I just walked away.
How about tell a time about when Gino flew down the stairs of the house?
Oh yeah, okay. So like another morning we were going to a estate sale. It was just like some basement, and it was raining the day before. And you know how like in those bulkheads there's like wooden steps?
Yeah.
And right, it was raining, so they were really slippery. So Gino took one step, and then he went all the way down the stairs, right on his butt. It was pretty funny.
I'm sure I've had many. No, go ahead.
No, that's it.
Oh no, I've had many instances before. The other night last week when I was at my father's, going up to the second floor, it's 24, whatever how many steps there are of carpet, and I'm on my computer rushing down the steps, and next thing you know, I'm sliding down it very fast. Didn't break myself because that's how
I fell down the stairs once.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and you threw your computer too.
I threw everything that was in my hands.
But I was standing straight up when it happened. And it was pretty mesmerizing. The last few things, I know that you both definitely enjoy spending time with each other, and I'm sure you both enjoy spending time doing this. And you have your wonderful conversations on the phone where you both say, "Oh, I'm done," and you end it on each other. Yep. And I'm curious though. I know there's a deeper love and appreciation, but for yourselves, what's it like? Being siblings with each other.
Honestly, I don't see him that much. He's like a distant acquaintance at school. You see him once in a while, and that's it.
Well, now that he drives, he's never home. at all.
Yeah.
But usually the one time we really get along is when we're making fun of Gino.
Yeah.
Well, hey, he can take my spot of being at whatever your house is called, Michael. For the meantime, until what's his name switches gears. Another man, and I'll end with this, the final point. I think it's a great way to end this week's edition. There's a man that we all know, a man that you both know better than I do and live near. And he's a little older, a little out there, and he holds a special place in our hearts. And his name is Mr. Paul Merlino Sr.
Oh, God.
I enjoy him. Michael has done a lot for him. He enjoys it, I'm sure. Matthew, I don't know how much you see him or talk to him, but he's an interesting guy. He loves your mother.
Yeah.
And your father, I'm sure, is a little on edge about that. But why do you think? And Michael, you can go first. Why he's such a mesmerizing creature?
I think that you're more mesmerized by him than I am. I'm just very used to it. I've known them since I was in 4th grade, so it's been quite a while, and that's where we always hung out all through high school. And I think I spend more time with his dad than I do with Paul himself. I mean, I went to Baltimore with him a few months ago, just the two of us. We went to Baltimore for a day. I don't know. He's absolutely insane, and he's a pathological liar, and he is very wildly inappropriate and extremely politically incorrect, and says a lot of inappropriate things and does a lot of things that are very wrong and probably illegal, and makes fun of people when he shouldn't. And occasionally, he gives good advice, and he will do anything for anyone. You just have to kind of get used to the rough exterior and all the awful things he does. And the most uncomfortable I ever am is whenever we go over to a restaurant and he just gets his own silverware and utensils and placemats, sits wherever he wants, and goes behind the counter and gets his own drinks.
Well, that's I forget when it was. I think it was one of the times we went out to him. Now, I don't know if it wasn't the time when now maybe you can attest to it, but it wasn't when I was there at that time. I got there an hour and a half late for Newport Creamery. But I think another time where he just grabbed stuff off. No, it was that time when I got there. He just went up to the hostess area, grabbed forks and knives and a menu, and just put it down for me. And he's like, hey, this man wants a grilled cheese here. He wants a grilled cheese with bacon. Get over here now and take his order. And he's an interesting guy. He'll say whatever. I remember because when he'll text you on Facebook, he'll just like Michael or Nolan with a lot of extra letters at the end, and then like, oh, hey, what's going on? Oh, not just sitting here boring, being weird, or whatever it was. And then like, oh, that's good, I'm doing this and that, and you'll get 4 straight thumbs up emojis every time you do stuff. He likes to curse a lot. He recently cursed out about Gina Armando and how she's a effing loser, and how he was the best man at her brother's wedding and she was his date, and all this stuff. And I'm surprised that he wasn't really cursing out the virus and the vaccine, which was surprising, seeing as the group he would be part of would definitely curse out about it and say how bad it is. But he's an interesting guy. He doesn't care. I loved the first time I talked to him where he was saying all the stuff about his wife, all those jokes at Hillside that one time, and he was saying making fat jokes about her. He's an interesting guy. Now, Matthew, I'm curious what your relationship is like with him.
I don't see him too much. I've only seen him a few times, really. Whenever he comes over to our house randomly. I remember one time, I forget the situation, but Michael and I went over to their house and we played Monopoly one night. It was a few years ago. I don't know if you remember that, Michael. We played Monopoly, and then Paul Jr. started taking your property cards, and you didn't even realize. And then he won the game because of that. But then I remember one time we were at Newport Creamery with Paul Sr. And I had one of the straws, and I was like trying to blow the thing at Michael. And there were 2 booths next to each other, and we were at like this one. So I blew the straw at Michael directly ahead, but it hit the other person in the other booth. And then he called me an idiot. And that was it.
Oh yeah, he likes to call people fucking dumbasses, stuff like that. He called that to Michael that one time after we went to Newport Creamery with him for the first time when he drove his sports car. He's an interesting man, but that's it. That's how the cookie crumbles. This was fun, my friends. I'll read my little thing. This was fun though. I really thank you both for taking the time out of your busy lives to help me on by coming to the show. I'd obviously like to thank Michael for helping me and him on the show yet again. I can count on him for practically anything. Well, most things anyways. And, I'm looking forward to another appearance by you in about a month or so for a special episode for yours truly. But hopefully, I didn't keep you up past your bedtime, seeing as you like to go to bed at 9 o'clock and you're out cold at
I just fall
anywhere.
asleep. I get tired. I have busy days.
Yes, and I'm sure you're not taking your iron pills either. But also, I'd like to thank you, Matthew, for helping me on the show as well as by making your first appearance. I have a lot of appreciation for you working out a day that worked best for everyone on the show.
It was a
that's not
pleasure.
easy either. Oh yes, I know we tried to work, like I said, work something out a while ago, but it happened. But now means a great deal. Hopefully this wasn't keeping you way past your bedtime, although I know how much you like to spend downstairs in your dark basement on your PC.
Yep.
Well,
as I do.
Yes, as I said at the beginning of the show, if you enjoyed what you watched or listened to this week, do us all a favor, all of us here, because they're really rooting for me, by subscribing and following the podcast, smashing the like button, which really helps, turning on the bell notification button wherever it's available, and finally click that share button, the little arrow one, and let everyone know what great fucking content they're missing, because they all, let's be honest here. And who doesn't want to be involved with this? And with that being said, I'll leave you with a quote from the legend Johnny Carson himself. I bid you all a heartfelt good night. Till next week, everyone, stay memey and scheming.